So for last meeting, we answered up to question number 3. So now, I added 3 more problems and I've updated your PDF file to show that additional 3 questions. So let's solve those now. So the first one, let's begin. A forward tangent having a slope of negative 4% intersects the back tangent having a slope of positive 7% at point V at station 6 plus 300 having an elevation of 230 meters. It is required to connect the 2 tangents with an unsymmetrical parabolic curve that shall pass through point A on the curve having an elevation of 227.57 meters at station 6 plus 270. The length of the curve is 60 meters on the side of the back tangent. Letter A, determine the length of the curve on the side of the forward tangent. So we're looking for L2. So first, we're going to draw this. So let's see again. Forward tangent, negative. Back tangent, positive. So it's positive to negative. Okay. So 7 and 4. PC, PP, ko lang. So slopes, 7 and 4. Then station B is 6 plus 300 and elevation 230. So this is your B. $230. Yeah. Required to connect the 2 tangents with an unsymmetrical passing through point A at station 6 plus 270. Since this is 6 plus 300, 6 plus 270 would be somewhere over here, okay, at this mark. So we're looking, and that is point A. Okay, so point A. You have your point A. Elevation 227.57 and station 6 plus 270. Okay, elevation 227.57. Yan. The length of curve is 60 on one side. We're looking for L2. Yan. Okay. Let's start. So to get L2, most likely you're going to need an equation involving L2. And if you remember, that equation would be the one for your H. So let's look back. And so if I know H, I can solve for L2 since L1, G1, and G2 is given. So first step now is figuring out what H is. So usually we get H by getting your vertical offset over horizontal offset squared. So since we're given a point, we can do that. We can use that point as your comparison. Okay? So x sub 1 over y1 squared equals H over L1 squared. Since we're on the left side. So we'll use L1. Okay? So x1 would be this length, right? And all I know is that this is 300, this is 270, so now I need to know what that length is. 0. Yes. So this length is 60. This is 300, this is 270, therefore I know this length is 30 as well, right? Station 6,300 minus station 6,270, so that's 30. Okay? And since this length is 60, so 60 minus 30, this length is 30 as well. Okay, 60 minus 30. Okay, so just not to scale. May nakabukas yung mic. Right. So now this is 30 squared, 30 over y sub 1. Baliktad pala. Y sub 1 over x sub 1 squared. So y sub 1, x sub 1 is 30. How about y sub 1? How do I get this? This is your y sub 1. So to get y sub 1, okay, look at what's given. I'm given the elevation of this. I'm also given the elevation of this point, right? Then if I get the difference of that, I get this length, right? Then, if I'm able to get the elevation of this point using your grade, I can now solve for y1. Okay? So once again, y1 is elevation 230 minus elevation 227.57. Okay, by doing that, again, you get this length. Then I'm going to subtract this height of your right triangle by using your grade. So that's just minus 0.07 over run. Your run is this, which is 30. So times 30. Please solve what's y1. Correct. Yun yung nauna. Anna and Lawrence. So Mallorca and Retarino. Alright. Okay. So it's 0.33. So this is 0.33 equals H over L1 is given as 60. So now I can solve for H. What's H? Correct, 1.32. Nauna, si Francesca, and si Miguel. Rogencia and Bravo. It's 1.32. And now, using that, okay, remember H is L1 times L2, G1 minus G2, again, absolute value, all over twice L1 plus L2. So now you get 1.32 equals L1 is 60. 60 L2, 0.07 minus negative 0.04, so that's plus 0.04 all over 2. L1 is 60 plus L2. So using this equation, solve for L2, what's the answer? Correct, Reynald and Christian, it's 40. Kabida and Apos. 40. So that's the first part. Easy enough. Next, letter B. Oops. Determine the stationing of the highest point on the curve. Stationing of the highest point, okay, as you can see in the drawing, it's this point. Okay. Let's call that point Q. So to get the stationing of Q, all you need now is figure out S2. Right? Station of Q, use what's given. You're given station B. So station B. So from here, station B, if I add your L2, I end up at this point. And if I subtract S2, I end up at point Q. So plus L2 minus S2. I already know L2. Now my problem is solving for S2, which is just solve for using equation. So S2 equals G2 L2 squared all over 2H. G2 is 0.04, I believe. Yep. L2 is 40 over 2. H is 1.32. Solving for this, what's S2? Miguel and Camille, 24.24. Miguel, Camille. Okay. Then use that here. What's the answer? This is station V, 6 plus 300 plus 40 minus 24.24. It's the final answer. Ay, talaga. Okay, sorry. Correct, Jolly and Reynald, 315.76. Ito ko lang. Maliwanag. Okay, and then lastly, letter C, elevation of the highest point. So to get elevation, we're looking for elevation of this. What I can get immediately is this, right? Using your grade, I can get this height. Okay, so from 230, I subtract this height, I get to this point, and if I can subtract this offset, I can get the elevation of point Q. So now my goal is to get offset, the value of this offset. So let's call that y sub 2. Okay. So y sub 2 over horizontal offset, which is this length, which is just S2. So over S2 squared equals H, which is 1.32 over L2 squared. So 1.32 over 40 squared. So now I can solve for y2. Well, what's y2? Correct, Francesca and Rubia, 0.48. Regencia and Rubia. So 0.48. And then elevation of Q is just elevation of your vertex minus the height of your right triangle. So that's 0.04. Right? So it's this right triangle right here. So 0.04 minus this run, I need to know this length. And this length is just your L2, right, minus S2. So L2 minus S2. Okay. And then minus y sub 2. What's the answer? Considering L2 is 40, S2 is 24.24. And elevation of D is 230. Correct, Maliwanag, Joely. 228.89, or if you didn't round off, it's 228.88. Again, this is taken if you didn't round off any of the values. Okay. So that's number 4. Any questions for number 4? La. Okay, please. Oh. Do you understand number 4? If you do, please answer yes, or if not, no. Okay, everybody understands. Great. Let's move on to number 5 then. Okay. V1 is at station 12 plus 200 and has an elevation of 30. It is required to connect the two tangents with an unsymmetrical parabolic curve, 160 meters on the side of the back tangent and 120 on the forward tangent. The curve must provide a vertical clearance of at least 4.42 meters above the right curve of an underpass, stationing of which is 12 plus 260. So letter A, determine the elevation of that curve. So first, let's draw. So elevation is not given. Okay. That's a drawing. I wasn't able to include the drawing, but let me just include it anyway. It's given there that G1 is 7% and G2 is negative 4%. Okay? Yeah. So that's your grades. Now knowing that, let's draw. So G1 is positive, and then G2 is negative. So it's similar to this, right? Then draw. So this is your PC, this is your PT. Again, let me just, oops. Okay, what else is given? Again, this is 7%, this is 4%, negative. Station is 12 plus 200. So B, 12 plus 200. Elevation 30 meters only. Okay. Next, 160 and 120 for the lengths. So 160 on the back, 120 on the front. Okay. Again, we're not to scale. And then curve must provide at least vertical clearance above the right curve of an underpass with this stationing 12 plus 260. So 12 plus 260 meaning the right side of your curve is somewhere here, or curb, or underpass, since this is 12 plus 200. So drawing your curve, let's say it's somewhere here. Okay. This is your underpass. Okay, ito siya. And then drawing your curve. And this is your right curve, this is your left curve. So this curve has stationing 12 plus 260. Half. Let's just move on. So based on our given values, it's half of your length, right? This is 200, this is 260, therefore 60 meters to the right of your vertex. So 60 meters is somewhere here, just half of your 120. Just to make a more accurate drawing. Okay. And then there's a vertical clearance of 4.42. Okay. Let's draw vertical clearance. This is your curve. Drawing ko to. There. This is the clearance. And this is, again, 4.42. Usog ko lang to. Great. Okay, now my goal is letter A solved for the elevation of that curve. Okay. So again, we're gonna base it on what's given. We're given V. I need to know the elevation of this. So let's see. First of all, what I can get is the height of this right triangle. Okay? And then if I can get y2, I can get the height at this point. So if I get the elevation at this point, and I subtract it by this clearance, I can get the elevation of this curve. Okay? So again, let's put that into equation. Let's say this is point C. Point C. So elevation of your curve, point C, equals, we're going to start at station V. So elevation of your vertex minus height of this right triangle, so 0.04, minus the length of this. Again, if this is 12 plus 200, the station of this is 260. The difference of them is 60 meters. So this is just 60. Okay. So this is times 60, right? Then subtracting it by, let's call that y1. So minus y1. Then minus this clearance. I get this. Okay, so now my problem is, what's y1? To solve for y1, you're going to use the offsets again. y1 over x sub 1 squared. X sub 1 is horizontal offset, so it's this length. Okay. But I already know this is 60. So this length is just 120 minus 60, which is also 60. So 60 squared equals h over L2 squared. Now I don't know h, but I do know L2 squared. L2 is just 120. So now I need to solve for it, h. So h is just, if you remember, L1, L2, G1 plus G2, all over 2, L1 plus L2. Okay? So 120, 160, 120, 0.07 plus 0.04, all over twice, 160, 120. Okay. Please compute what's the value of h then. Correct, 3.77. Correct, Anna. Anna, Miguel, Reynaldo, Eli, Diana. So, lahat ata kayo nakadalawang points na. Let's see, Mallorca. So, okay, Anna, correct? And then, Bravo, you got 2 points already. Postal, Aliwanag. So, let's give it to Diana. Oh. Right. Okay. So, 3.77. So, now using that, this is 3.77 all over 120 squared. What's y1? Okay. The first two who got it was Reynald and Lawrence. So, lahat kayo, nakakuha na. Postol. And Camille. And then Miguel. Bravo. Okay. So 0.94. Now knowing that, if you compute for this, so 30 minus 0.04 times 60 minus 0.94 minus 4.42, what is the final answer? Correct, Carla, 22.24. Okay, so that's letter A. Next, letter B. If the curve elevation is 22.6385 meters, compute the length of the curve of the side of the forward tangent in order to fulfill the requirement. So we're gonna have now a given elevation, 226385. 226385. So elevation of this now is 226385. And knowing that, the question is, what is now the new length of your curve? Or the length at the side of the forward tangent. So we're looking for L2. Okay. So to get L2, we're just going to reverse engineer this. We're going to start with, and knowing now this elevation, then subtracting this clearance is constant. We're going to solve for Y2. And when you get Y2, you're going to get H. And then L2. Okay? Let's start. Okay, so my goal now is to get Y sub 2. So Y sub 2 is just this. Okay? But considering now we have a given elevation of this. Okay, so that's just Y sub 2. So to get Y sub 2, that is elevation of V. Okay, if I get elevation of V, I'm here, subtracted by elevation of your curve, I'm gonna get this length, right? Then if I subtract it by the height of my right triangle again, I'm gonna get that length. And then if I subtract it by this clearance, I'm gonna get 4.42. Okay? So let's do that. Minus 22 minus 6385 minus 0.04. This is still constant at 60 because the station of your curve didn't change. So this is still 60. Okay. Then minus clearance 4.42. What's the answer? What's Y2? Correct, Joely. 0.54. Or this is the whole one, so that you don't have to store it. So 0.5415. So Joely and Clarissa got it correct. Okay. Now that I have Y2, I can use the equation for Y2. So now Y2 all over its horizontal offset, which is this length. And I don't know L2 anymore. Okay, so that is now L2 minus your 60 squared, right? So this is unknown for situation B. This is still 60. So that's just L2 over 60. L2 na siya. Equals H over L2 squared. Now, I don't know H, so we can solve for H. H is not this anymore, by the way, since L2 is different. So now use H equals, actually, let's write it here. H is equal to L1, L2, G1 minus G2. This minus, by the way, minus twice L1 plus L2, okay, over L2 squared. So you get Y2 over L2 minus 60 squared equals L1 is just the same 160, right? Yep. So 160 times L2 times 0.07 plus 0.04 all over twice L2 squared. Binaba ko lang po dito. Twice L2 squared. So times L1, 160 plus L2. So there. And Y2 is 0.5415. Therefore, can anybody solve what's L2 now using this equation? No, it's not 38.36. Okay, correct, Camille. Okay. So you're gonna have two choices for L here. The other one is 38.36. The other one is 100, I believe. So B, C, D. Again, you're gonna have two answers. First one is the one you've been getting, 38.36. So it's 100. So L2. Okay. So obviously, since this length is 60 already, I can't have L2 be 38.36. So we're gonna choose 100. So L2 equals 100. Again, so that you can get a higher number. I'm not sure how your calculator works, but for me, I just have to input x equals 100 so that it chooses the higher number or the number closer to 100. If you write there, if you let it be x equals 0 or 1, it's going to choose the lower number. Yeah. They're correct. It's 38.36 or 99.99 or 100. And it's that, so it's, I'm going to choose 100. Okay? So the answer is 100. Next, letter C. compute the stationing of the highest point for the second condition. So we're gonna use the values computed here. So highest point, that is this point right here, I believe. Let's call that Q. Again, what? Stationing. So to get stationing, as usual, I just need to get this is S2. Okay, so from V, right, station 12 plus 200 plus L2, I'm gonna get to PT, then minus S2, I'm gonna get to Q. So that is elevation, stationing of Q. Okay, again, station Q is from station point of intersection or vertex plus length of curve on the right side minus your S2. L2 is given, is solved for 100. Now I need to solve for S2. So S2 using equation is this, is just G2 L2 squared over 2H. So 0.04, 100 squared over 2. Now solve for H using this equation. Okay. Can anybody please solve for H using this equation? Okay. Considering L2 now is 100. So what's 160 times 100 times G1 minus G2 over 2 times 160 plus 100. Ako na lang. So it's 3.38, I think. Okay, just using this equation, let me double check. Okay. Oh, that's not correct. Yeah, 3.30. And then 3.38, computing for this, 0.04 times 100 squared over 2. So that S2 is 59.09. 17. Okay. If you didn't, 0.04 100 squared 2 times. Okay. Okay. If you didn't use this, you're gonna use the stored value. So you're gonna get 59.09. Okay. So now finally, using 59.09, station B is 12 plus 200 plus 100 minus 59.09. Final answer would be 12 plus 240.91. That's number 2. Any questions for number 2? None? Do you understand number 2 then? How about the 281 actually? Try to recompute this problem lang and make sure you get the same answer. So again, if you understand, please answer yes or no. Okay, it's lang lahat. So let's move on to the last problem. A forward tangent of positive 6% was designed to intersect a back tangent of negative 3% at a proposed underpass along Epifanio de los Santos Avenue so as to maintain a minimum clearance allowed under a bridge which crosses perpendicular to the underpass. A 200-meter curve lies on the side of the back tangent while a 100-meter curve lies on the side of the forward tangent. The stationing and elevation of the grade intersection is 123 plus 530.20 and 100 meters respectively. The center line of the bridge falls at station 12 plus 575.20, and then the elevation of the underside of the bridge is 117.48. Letter A, determine the clearance of the bridge at the left side if it has a width of 10 meters. So now we have again an underpass and a bridge. So bridge is crossing perpendicular to your underpass. That just means it's the same as what we've been drawing. We're just going to draw the cross section of your bridge. Okay. 6. Draw. Back tangent is negative 3, so now that's downward, then upward. Negative 3, 6. PT. PC. Okay. All right. What else given? 200, 100 for the lengths of your curves. Oops. Else. Stationing and elevation of grade intersections. So 1, 2, 3, 530.20. Hundred meters elevation. Okay. Then there's a center line of your bridge. It's at station 12 plus 575. So meaning it's at the right side. This is, oh, I guess that was 3. 12 plus 530, not 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let me retype. False. And then 12 plus 530. So again, your bridge center line is at 575 and elevation 117. So 575 at the right of 530, somewhere here. Okay, then state elevation 100. So it's higher than this. So drawing your center line of your bridge, let's say, oh, yeah, okay. Center line. 12 plus 575, so let's write. The underside of the bridge is 117.48. So this is 117.48. So that's all that's given. What are we looking for? Clearance at the left side, it's the width is 10. Okay. So this is 10. So we want to know, this height, clearance at the left side. Okay. So let's call that H1 or HL. Okay. Height at the left side. So to get that, we're going to use what's given again. So first, I know the elevation of this point. I know the elevation of this point. If I get the difference between those two, I get this height, right? Okay? And then from this height, if I subtract this height of your right triangle over here, okay, and then I just subtract this vertical offset, I can get the clearance. Okay? So usog ko to sa kanan so that it's clearer. Okay. So once again, let's call this y1. And then this is what we're taking. Okay, this is what I mentioned. Height of this. Okay. So to get HL, getting the difference between the two elevation, this point and this point. So that's just 117 0.48 minus 100 minus, again, our goal is to get this, so I'm going to subtract this height, the height of your right triangle. So just using your grade, so minus, it's 6%, 0.06 times this run. So to get this run, remember, this is at station 530.26, this is at station 575.20. So just get the difference between those two, you're able to get this. So I'll just call that x. Okay. X. And then minus y1. Okay, that's all. So first, let's solve for x. So again, x is just 12,575.20 minus 12,530.26. What's x? 0. Ah, okay, thank you for the correction. 20 and 20. Yeah. 45. Okay, thanks. 45. Oh, oh. So do 45. Correct, it's 45. But that's the center line. Remember, this stationing is at the center line, so what we got is this. Yan. That is 45. Okay. Dito ko na lang natin. Okay, ito siya. So x is actually that 45 minus half of the width, which is 5. So 40. Thanks for letting me know. Sino yung nakakuha? 45. So it was Miguel and Camille and Sahara. Yung mga nauna. Miguel, Camille, Sahara, Sumpa, Kabida, Tarino C. Tarino. C. Alright, so correct, this is 45 minus 5, therefore this is 40. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, and now I have x, so this is 40. Next, I need to solve for y1. So to solve for y1, you're going to use again your offsets. So y1 over horizontal distance. So it's at this point, so I want to get this horizontal distance. We're taking it from PT, since this is the closer side. So since this x is 40, okay, this total length is 100, therefore this is 60. So 45, 40, 60. Equals h over L2 squared. I don't know h, so now I need to solve for h. So h is just L1, L2, G1 minus G2 all over twice. Hold on. Sorry for the noise. They're fumigating in my village. Okay. So negative 0.03 minus 0.06, take the absolute value, that's just 0.03, 0.06 over 2. 200 plus 100, oh, what's h? 3, correct. Carla, Diana, Sahara, Benjamin. Okay. Carla, Diana, Joseph, first 3 to solve. Na konti pa yung points. Carla, Sahara, Campanilla, and then Crano. It's just 3, correct? So that's 3 equals 3 over L2 is 100. What's Y1? 1.08, correct, Carla and Joel. Not 108. Sorry, just Carla then. All right, now I can solve for the final answer. So what's 117.48 minus 100 minus 0.06 times x, which is 40, then minus 1.08. Correct, 14. So Christian, Trisha, and Camille. Rob. 14. Okay, so that's letter A. Easy enough. Next, letter B. Clearance of the bridge at the right side. So now I want to know this. Let's call it HR. Or right. So same process. HR is just the difference in the elevations again. 117.48 minus 100. Okay. So if I do that, I get this. Sorry, this. Then subtracted by this height and this y, I can get HR. So let's call this y2. And then this is another right triangle. So minus 0.06. Okay. So if this is 100, right? This is 40. This is 10. Therefore, this is 40. This is 10. Therefore, the run or the base of your right triangle is just 50. Okay? Tama. Again, x is 40. Width of your bridge is 10. So this is 10. 40 plus 10, 50. And minus y2. So now the only problem is y2. And y2 is easy since I've already solved for h. So y2 over horizontal offset, it's this length. So if this is 50, this is 100, and therefore this is 50. 100 minus 50 equals h3 over 100 squared. What's y2? $0.75. Correct. But y squared? Y2. Correct, Diana and Miguel. 0.75. Parang dami mo na. Chance. Okay. Now knowing y2, please solve for hr. What's the final answer? 13.73, correct. Ano yung konti pa lang points? 15, 13.73. So Christian, Lawrence, and Carla. I'll give it to them. Christian. Dami mo na pala. Lawrence. Sabida. Christian, Lawrence, Fontanilla. 4. Okay. Ang mga naka 4 and up, give chance to the others sumagot. So this is 13.73. And then lastly, letter C. Clearance at the center. So just this. We're looking for this. Call that HC. So to get HC, this is Y3. Okay. And then this, another height. Okay, so HC, same thing, 117.48 minus 100 minus 0.06. 45, we've established this is 45, right? If this is 40 plus half of your bridge 5, 45 minus y3. Okay. So y3 over it's this length. So if this is 45, this is 100. So that's just 100 minus 45, which is 55. 55. So 55 squared equals 3 over 100 squared. What's y sub 3? Okay. Mga konti pa lang points. Diana, correct. Sahara, correct. Ano correct? Ponce correct. Hazel. Clarissa. Correct. And then Sahara. Correct. Okay. All correct. 0.91. And then finally, applying 0.91 here, what's the final answer? 13.87. Correct. So Brits and Trisha. Belina. Paano? Chongko. Right, that's it. So 13.87. There, done. Any questions for number 6? Wala. If you don't have any questions, do you understand? Please answer yes or no. All right, good. So that's it for unsymmetrical parabolic curve. Again, on Saturday, you're going to have your quiz number 4. And then, what else? Tomorrow, you're going to have your field work. Starts at 1:30 p.m. And then submission of your fieldwork report tomorrow on or before 11:59 p.m. Okay? Any questions, concerns, clarifications? By the way, for those who are asking, I don't use an ebook for surveying. What I use is actually a board exam reviewer. So it's by Besavilla. Surveying for Civil and Geodetic Licensure Exam by Besavilla. If you're wondering what I'm using. No homework. Okay. Yeah. There's no homework for this topic because we've answered all of the questions for this topic in this book. Okay? So instead, if you want to review, try to resolve all of this without looking at the solution and see if you can get the same answer. Okay? Any other questions and concerns? Lana? Alright. Sige. Since you don't have any more questions, you may go. Goodbye, class.
Bye, ma'am.